In this video, I'm going to show you how to make jump up drums like this. All of the samples used in this video are available in my Jump Up DNB sample pack. If you're watching this video early, the sample pack isn't released yet, but there's a free beta pack you can download. There's also a remix competition you can join, details to that on my Discord server. And if you're watching this video late, the sample pack is fully released and it'll be in the same place. Feel free to follow along with the sample pack or your own samples. Let's make 4 bars of these drums. First of all, what we're going to want is a really heavy kick drum. Now I'm using this kick drum here that sounds like this. And you can hear it's got a lot of transient on the start of the kick. So this is essentially just a kick sort of layered with like cushion elements as well to give it that thud. And all we're going to do here is drop it on the first bar here, the second bar, the third bar and the fourth bar. And then we're going to duplicate these like this, put them into the middle and then drag them 2 steps across like this. Now we need a snare and we want it to be super heavy. And to get it to sound really heavy, we want to layer it. So what I've done is I've layered claps and snares together. So this is the first one and we're going to whack it on beat 3 and beat 4 like this. So it sounds like this. Next I've got this sound. And we're going to put this here. And then next we've got this sound. I'm going to put this here. And then next we've got this sound. I'm going to put this here. And then what you want to do once they're all placed down is mix them down together. So you can see here, they're all mixed down and then they're all going to their relative bus. And the snare bus just has some saturation on it. And I've also put it in mono as well, as you can see there. And then once you've mixed the levels down, you can actually then adjust the tail of each one just to get the sound you want. So I can make this a bit shorter, for example, do the same here, do the same here, and it starts to shape the sound so they're all tailing off at the same time. And then once you've done that and you're happy with it, a little bit more on this one. There we go, it sounds good. We can then just duplicate these across like this. So now we've got this. Now we need hi-hats. So as I mentioned earlier, that kick drum has that transient right at the start where it hits, and I've already added percussion to that in the sample itself. But I want to go a step further and add even more with this one here. So I can get my hi-hat and just whack this at the start of each bar like that, just to add a little bit more to that kick drum. And especially when there's basses playing over it, it just sounds even harder. Now we're going to take more hi-hats and add groove to the track. So we've got this one here, which is kind of like a shaker slash hi-hat. And we're going to add this in 2 places. So let's just go here and put it on step mode. And then we're going to whack it here, between the first beat and between the last beat of the bar as well here. And then we're just going to duplicate this across like this. And this should get something that sounds like this. This is mixed even quieter than the kick and the snare here. So next we're going to add this hi-hat, and this is going to come in the most popular spot to put hi-hats for drum and bass, which is where we made that gap earlier with the kick drum here. So this was originally here and we moved it across to here. That's opened up a space here for this hi-hat to go in. So we can just pop it right there and then do that on all of them like that. And it gets this. If you haven't already, it would mean a lot if you could just hit that like button down below. If we could go for 100 likes, that would be crazy. So now we've got the kick, the snare and the hi-hat, and it's starting to come together, but it still sounds a little bit rigid and there isn't much groove going on. So now we need to add more groove, and we can do that with percussion. So we can do this with rides and then different types of shakers, tambourines, those sort of percussion elements. So what we can do here is take ride number 2, drag it into the top section, and then we're just going to cut this off here and duplicate this a bunch of times. And this is adding to that groove. And then another thing you can do as well is you can actually change the velocity on different ones to get even more groove. So I could just randomly come in and change these on random points just to add to the overall groove. Normally you want to miss out the first ones on each bar, but it doesn't matter too much. If we just do that and then have a listen. And then feel free to mix it in as well. So we can turn it down a little bit. So now we've pretty much finished, but we can just look for little gaps in the drums where we could add even more groove. So if we just zoom in and have a look, we can see that there's actually a little gap just before the hi-hat comes in this section here. So let's add some percussion in there. So let's use this hat and we'll put it just before the hat here. And then let's get another one and layer it. Sounds like this. Put this here. And then we'll just drag this across so it's matching it like this. And let's see how this sounds. We can just like drag these. Sounds pretty cool. And then we can just duplicate these across here. And then you can even turn these down even more if you want them to really be in the background. We just got a little EQ on this one as well. And this hi-hat's got some reverb on, which I can just take off. And there we have some heavy drums. I've actually got some basses down here to give you an example of what they sound like with some basses on, which we'll go over in another tutorial. So let's have a listen. And that is the video complete. Let me know in the comments what you think of these drums, how do they sound in your tracks, and make sure to check out the Jump Up DNB sample pack. Thank you all for watching, I'll see you all in the next one.